The NCAA has denied Texas Tech's request to reinstate Brendan Sorsby's eligibility, with only one hope remaining for their $5 billion quarterback. Let's talk about what happens next and recap how we got here and how the stakes are only going to be so high, and I mean so very high, in just a week's time. What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, answer the question in the comments below. Do you believe Brendan Sorsby should be allowed to play college football this season? Sorsby was officially denied reinstatement of his eligibility at Texas Tech by the NCAA earlier this afternoon, this Tuesday after Memorial Day. And what that means is Brendan Sorsby's really just got one hope left of playing college football in 2026. How did we get here, though? Sorsby, about a month ago, revealed to the public that he has a gambling addiction. In the same press release that Texas Tech sent out, they also said he had entered a rehabilitation facility, residential, local, where he could address his gambling addiction. He has since done 35 days in rehab, and he is out. Texas Tech, for its part, initiated his ineligibility by saying, hey, look, we're gonna go ahead and say you are ineligible to play, ineligible to be in school at Texas Tech University. And immediately after that, initiated the reinstatement process for Brendan Sorsby and Texas Tech after they had admitted to the NCAA that they agreed on the facts, right? The facts of the case are Brendan Sorsby had placed more than 10,000 bets over the course of about 3 years while at Indiana, Cincinnati, and maybe as a student at Texas Tech. Not quite sure about that part. What we do know is he bet on his own team at Indiana, which is a tremendously big no-no. Ask Pete Rose going all the way forward on that one. So it's not as if he was betting on sports for which he does not participate and he does not have perhaps insider information, right? Like, say, Ultimate Fighting Championship or cricket in India. Though, when he did bet on other sports, like, say, Major League Baseball while a student at University of Cincinnati, he was doing it compulsively. Balls and strikes. Not a large amount of money being placed on these bets, but enough to where you could see there is a pattern of addiction here, right? Now, as far as the NCAA is concerned, there's a lot that you can take from this because the NCAA has very strict rules about how much money you can bet, and it escalates, right? I believe if it's over $800 that you bet cumulatively, the NCAA can take as much as half your season in eligibility, which means that Brendan Sorsby at best would not be eligible to play after serving his suspension until halfway through the season for Texas Tech. For Texas Tech, this is very bad news because Texas Tech doesn't have its second string quarterback ready to play. Will Hammond is still rehabbing from an ACL injury. Also, that you can get out. Never mind. I'm not even going to go there. Where the third quarterback on the depth chart is Kirk Francis, who was a starter at the University of Tulsa last year, but is not the $5 million quarterback that you paid to have come here and got in a bidding war with, right? Brendan Sorsby probably could have ended up at LSU, could have ended up at Miami, could have ended up at a number of places, chose Texas Tech. They paid him handsomely. And because of that move, we genuinely believe that Texas Tech has a chance to defend its Big 12 championship and make the college football playoff for a second consecutive year. Sorsby is in that top 2 tiers of quarterbacks for the NFL draft, which is another way in which the wrinkles for this are interesting, because what this means is if Brendan Sorsby can't play half the season at Texas Tech, he might opt to enter the NFL supplemental draft. The NFL supplemental draft is interesting. It hasn't had any real high value players enter it for about 7 years. As a matter of fact, the two guys that come to the top of my mind when we talk about the supplemental draft are Terrell Pryor, who entered it after Tattoo Gate, came out as a wide receiver. It's not bad, by the way, guys. People forget Terrell Pryor at junctions in his NFL career was absolutely a problem at wide receiver, but he played quarterback at Ohio State. And then Josh Gordon, who is one of the really sad tales for the NFL for me, because I think Josh Gordon is a tremendous player that just never really got an opportunity to showcase what he could do for an extended amount of time. Now, as it pertains to Brendan Sorsby, what would an NFL team be interested in with him? Well, he's got a tremendous arm and he's got an ability to move around the pocket. People use the Patrick Mahomes comp a little too often for me, but you hear that one, right? Because he can extend the play and because he's got a rifle for an arm. But the supplemental draft means you're putting up a compensatory pick, which also means that you're kind of betting, right? I like to look at it as spades game, right? How many books you think you got in your hand? You know what I'm saying? How many books you willing to separate with? So if you're willing to put up a second round pick, maybe you can win him. But who wants to part with a second round pick for Brendan Sorsby, given that a gambling addiction is not an injury that you're rehabbing from? And it's the quarterback position. A gambling addiction is with you forever, like an alcohol addiction. It's with you forever. It's something you have to manage. It's something that you have to attend meetings for. And it is becoming a big part of Brendan Sorsby's persona and what we can come to know and understand about him. Now, if you are a team that can afford to give up, let's say, a second round pick for Brendan Sorsby, are you willing to also hold those problems that he has up next to you and go, we can help him with this. We can help him deal. We can help him figure it out. Maybe you can. And if that's what you're going to do, more power to you. Honestly, I don't know that many NFL teams are going to have the stomach for that. I just don't see it. If it were up to me, I don't think that I would advise Brendan Sorsby to enter the supplemental draft, period. I would advise him, no matter what, to stick it out with Texas Tech. Perhaps you come to some arrangement about money that can be returned or they won't pay you, given your value to them is not as high as when they first signed you, and you can bring harm to their reputation given what you've been encountering, what this has meant for Texas Tech. And as far as them saying they got to put your health and safety first, which they do, and I applaud them for, but that does cost, right? And they're fighting the NCAA on your behalf. And though he has retained a really great lawyer in Jeffrey Kessler, I actually would like to know where that money's coming from, but that's another discussion. There is no guarantee that he gets to play college football this year unless they get this injunction. So on June 1, a judge is going to hear an argument from Kessler and from the NCAA about whether or not an injunction to the NCAA making Brendan Sorsby ineligible should hold up in court. And if Brendan Sorsby can succeed in getting that temporary injunction, he will be not unlike Trinidad Chambliss, different circumstances altogether, but receives an injunction to play this year, where it becomes a non-issue because the NCAA just won't get around to having a trial about this in time for it to affect Brendan Sorsby's college football career. Just won't happen. But it would not stop the NCAA from appealing and continuing to, well, caper its rules. By the way, rules that all the member institutions of the NCAA say they want and are supposed to abide by. What's been fascinating to me about this is that we like it when the rules are applied to other people. We don't like it when the rules are applied to us. So for those of y'all that are quick on the trigger with the Owen Heineke bit, I don't think that he should be allowed to play college football at Oklahoma this year. I don't believe that the rules get bent for you. It sucks that he played just 15 minutes total in that lacrosse season, but the NCAA's clock starts ticking when it starts ticking. And you don't get to stop it or say, damn it, can I have that time back? That's not how that works. What is the Howard Stark phrase? No amount of money bought a second of time? Right. It is what it is. And them's the breaks sometimes. It doesn't fall your way, right? And because it doesn't fall your way sometimes, these are the things you got to deal with. I don't think Trinidad Chambliss should be eligible, and I don't think that Joey Aguilar should have been allowed to, and he's not, right? It's basically depend on what a local judge has to say. Now, the judge that was first assigned the case for Brendan Sorsby was a Texas Tech law grad, and he recused himself. The judge that has been assigned the case has not actually been on the bench since 2019, but crucially, doesn't have any diplomas from Texas Tech, right? So he can at least be seen as a guy that is justified in what he thinks and doesn't have what we know about, at least, as some conflicts of interest here. But if you're Texas Tech, you also have a lot riding on this. And I think that's one of the reasons why they have been so aggressive about defending, because they're wanting to reinstate him and trying to say, we can handle this. We can help him with this. I also think that this is a great thing for Brendan Sorsby. And the reason I say that is I didn't know that Texas Tech would get down for him like this. I'm very happy to see that it's happening, and I would like to see this more often, but I also get that, they got skin in the game with not just $5 million, but they want to win, and he gives them the best opportunity to win. It's not like you can go get a quarter out of the portal anymore. You're stuck with what you got. Now, why would I say, hey, Brendan Sorsby, no matter what, stay at Texas Tech? Because the other thing you want to do is show the NFL how you can manage this. Show the NFL what kind of teammates you are. Show the NFL what kind of practice player you are, because I don't think the NCAA can prevent him from participating with. Well, yes, they can. They prevent him from participating with the team. So maybe that's a thing. Maybe it's just you can't even be a part of the Texas Tech football culture, which would suck, right? But even so, going into the supplemental draft this close is a gamble. And I think going into the NFL draft, yeah, that's still a gamble because it's far down the line, and perhaps you lose a bit of shape. Perhaps you lose some of your luster. Maybe you go as an undrafted free agent. But right now, Brendan Sorsby needs to stack good days, and stacking good days is the best way to show your future employers what kind of an employee you might be. I'm fond of saying that, the quarterback of anybody's franchise, of anybody's program, is the CEO of your franchise and your program. But I'm also very fond of saying CEO is an employee who answers to a board of directors, right? Now, far be it from me to say that they need Brendan Sorsby at Texas Tech to get through the first half of their schedule, because I don't think they do. But we're talking about at Oregon State versus Houston. That'll be tough, I think. I think that'll be tough. Versus Sam Houston, at Colorado, and then Arizona State, Cincinnati, Arizona, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Texas Christian. This is a doable schedule. This is a more than doable schedule. I mean, you start with Abilene Christian. You can play Kirk Francis against Abilene Christian. Would you want to play Kirk Francis against Houston? Probably not, right? So a lot is riding on June 1 and what it is that we think we're going to learn. But for now, dog, can't wait to see what happens next. This has been really entertaining, even as it's bad news for Brendan Sorsby, because this, I think, is going to shape how we look at future problems like this one, because I don't think gambling is going away. Gambling is always been a big part of sports, and now that it's legal, it's a bigger part of sports, and gambling money is responsible for a lot of the content that you consume even now. So seeing how a judge reacts to Brendan Sorsby breaking the NCAA's rules, no matter what he says in his affidavit, which is, I was betting on my team to feel closer to them as I did not feel a part of that team. Okay. But you broke the rules. I want to see if this holds up. It doesn't feel like, knowing what we know, that it will. But again, that's what the hearing's for, and that's what we're all going to find out together.